Right, guys. You probably noticed there's not been a big show this week, and that's because I've run out of MegaBytes on the pod hosting software that I use. So I thought I'd do a little bonus episode for you, of a little reading out of my new book. More you know, which is spelt you as in world around you. You can get it off my website for £2.50 as an ebook. Personally, I'd prefer you buy it off of Etsy because it might cost a little bit more. It doesn't mean I make more. It's just that they won't let me list it for £2.50, and it means as well that more people could find it because you could leave reviews on there. Same as on Amazon, but on Amazon I think it's going to be harder to reach more people. But if you just want to read it though, get it off my website. You're going to start getting leaflets as well now in your orders. The next 500 orders or so are going to get little leaflets in, so you can get the ebooks for £1.99 rather than the £2.50 that they're listed at. A little something for you. But yeah, I'm going to read the book. It's a book of lies, just a book of fake facts. And if you're listening to this and you think to yourself, I was thinking about joining the Patreon, then pause this and go over to YouTube, because I've left a video of me recording this up on YouTube, like I did, I think, with the Pokemon one, which you probably haven't heard yet, actually. So that's a bit of a future thing, but you can see a future episode if you go to YouTube as well. And if you want to see future episodes, go to Patreon, patreon.com/worldaroundyou. Give a dollar, give a couple dollars, give a quid, give a couple of quid, whatever you see fit. And for that as well, you also get access to the ebooks. And I put other little bits on there. Not very often though, I'll be dead honest. But that's how these are funded. The podcasts are now funded through the Patreon, exclusively through the Patreon subscriptions. And if I get some more Patreon subscriptions, I can put out an episode every week on here. But that's almost 2 minutes, and I haven't got it into the book yet properly. So, like I say, if you want to watch me face contort and that as I'm reading and stuff, head over to the YouTube. So on the first page, we've got a big thank you for the following TikTok users, because what I did was I got some TikTok users on the live streams to give me some words and suggestions, a bit like an improv show, but without the uncomfortableness of the room. So I'll read you the first page. Have you ever come away from a situation thinking, I wish I knew what they were on about? Well, have you ever read a book cover to cover and come away thicker than when you started? If not, then fuck me, do I have a treat for you, mate. There are fiction books and there are non-fiction books, and this one sits nicely in that centre bit of that Venn diagram. In the ring, if you will. And yet, out of the box. But this book isn't going to be all low-hanging sexual innuendos. If you want that, try my other book, How to Date an Anti-Table, A Lover's Guide. Shameless, I know, but if you genuinely enjoy this, maybe you'll enjoy my radio shows on Threshold FM and my podcasts, which you can access through most audio streaming services. Now, with that out of the way, I'm hoping that what this book will do is seep into your heads and rot your brains. I'm hoping that after reading this, when you go to think about some of these topics in the future, you'll in fact remember what I've written within these pages and regurgitate it to people you know to try and seem interesting, or conversely, to make you seem boring at a party so a weirdo might leave you alone for actually wanting a conversation. So, let's get into it. So the first section is about nature, and I'll read you a couple of them. We've got a spider crab shares more DNA with a terrapin than it does with a hermit crab. And if you're watching this on the Patreon video, if you like, on the YouTube video, I'm showing it you now. What you can see in the picture there is a terrapin ripping the back out of a spider crab. So for those of you that aren't in the know, that means he's shafting it, slipping it a sausage, if you like, a little turtley surprise. Before plastic was dumped into oceans, it was originally dumped into rivers until they overflowed with a literal stream of plastic which flushed the river turtles into the seas. Most ocean-dwelling turtles are burning, evolved to survive the harshness of salt water, yet not evolved enough to not feel its harshness. They spend most of their lives trying to get back to land and lay their eggs in the hopes that the young can continue the journey inland. Human interference prevents this, as they are often herded back to shore, weak and afraid. And then in the illustration, you'll see, if you're watching the accompanying video, that you've got a guy with a torch, and he's dumping a load of plastic bottles into a river, scaring off the turtles. We'll go to another section now. Another section in this book is inventions. Before the patenting of the corkscrew in 1795, the device was generally known by colloquial terms for a duck's penis. In the 1600s, it was reportedly called the Pull's Culls, Duck Scut, and Duck Dirk. The patenting of the device is looked back on by some as nothing more than an attempt to lessen vulgarity within society. Others believe it was intended to muddy the water between dialects. It was a good way to ease tensions in taverns, where travellers could argue, fight and kill each other for very little reason. By having a universal term, it was one less argument to arise. And then in the picture of that is a duck with its dick down the cork of a wine bottle. So it looks like you're using a duck's dick to open it. And I'll give you one more. And this one here is out of... Oh, we'll go for that one. That's quite a good one. Actually, no, well, I'll give you two. And this one is from the section known as Humans. So this one, the illustration for this one is now available on T-shirts as well. So the rise in Kegel exercises in the Western world is alleged to stem from one woman. At the time known to be the third oldest woman to give birth, she claimed on morning TV show in her home country that she had to practice Kegel floor exercises because a doctor had concerns over her body trying to expel the baby prematurely due to a lack of strength in her abdominal region. And then you can see on the picture it's an old granny with her tits and bush out with a chain connected to a dumbbell coming out of a fanny hole. So that's on T-shirts and stickers if anyone's interested. The Redbubble, find the Redbubble in the Linktree link. And finally, the last little section I'm going to give you of this book. In 2016, an Italian care home came under scrutiny because in an effort to rebrand and cut costs, they refused to take in patients who were actually disabled. Doctors were caught signing up patients who were simply burdens to their family. Like the mental institutions of the early 20th century, this care home was home to old people, middle-aged and young adults. There wasn't children as they require specialist care compared to able-bodied adults. The care home was picketed and protested against as locals deemed it inhumane. The owners were fined, but the family members who dumped their unloved ones there were arrested and charged with false imprisonment. And then for the picture of that one, it's one of my favourites in the book. It's got a little cottagey looking place. Kind of looks like the house out of Planet of the Apes, where they bring up the ape. And then outside it, if you've got a no disabled people sign, and then a blonde woman shouting at the house, "Why aren't they disabled?" Because... like I say, it's a book of lies. At the back of it, you've got a little catalogue, of little things I've made and things you can get off the website. The things off the Redbubble and bits like that, But you might enjoy the illustrations, Give us a couple more illustrations now on the video. So if you're liking the video, guys, on YouTube there, really consider the Patreon. You might enjoy it. Now, obviously, I don't normally have illustrations to accompany me when I'm talking, but sometimes you get little bits that don't quite make it into the podcast or whatever. Not very often, but there's something. Plus, it's a way of supporting the shows. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go because I've got to record this week's radio show for Threshold FM. And this will be a podcast, what I'm about to record. I will be live on YouTube doing this, so you can catch me live on YouTube once a week recording the shows. If you want to watch them shows and hear about the stuff I'm talking about before it happens, join the Patreon. Otherwise, I'll fucking see you in a bit, guys.